Hey there, my name is Ethan or Nightlocker. This is my tournament reflection on the tournament I just top four'd and subsequently punted in the finals. I'm going to be going over my card choices, my best and worst performing cards this tournament, and going over my best and worst plays, including an explanation of said finals match. I hope you enjoy. Alrighty, let's start talking about my deck list. I ran Timnacrom or Blue Farm. It is the best deck in the format and obviously my best deck. The reason I ran these is because the prizing for this tournament was insane. If you got top four, you got a dual land, and so I wanted to do really well. Some of the spicier cards that I wanted to test today were Warrior's Oath. It's an extra turn spell. It's the same thing as Final Fortune, but it's at sorcery speed. And then Beseech the Mirror. Search library for any card for 4 mana, but if you sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or a token, you get to cast the spell for free if it's 4 mana value or less. I wanted to test them specifically in the spots where I've played Jeska's Will and Wheel of Fortune before. Kind of like with these being the swaps, with Warrior's Oath replacing Jeska's Will and Beseech replacing Wheel. With Wheel has utility with Bowmasters, and Jeska's Will guaranteed makes you a ton of mana. These cards are fine. They've won me games in the past, but I wanted to test out these for these reasons. Warrior's Oath is kind of like Dockside Extortionist if you think about it, because it makes you a ton of mana, specifically colored mana. You just have to win the game on the spot. And the dopamine I get from casting a Grand Abolisher and then casting a Warrior's Oath is just otherworldly. So I really wanted to do that this tournament. Beseech, it's not great at winning the game. It's about as good as Wheel of Fortune is, just because Wheel of Fortune doesn't guarantee wheel you into a win. I mean, it's pretty likely. Beseech, if you don't have any of the Breach combo cards already in hand, it costs a lot of mana to win the game. It costs 8 mana and a ton of cards in graveyard. But it's just the fact that it's a second Smothering Tithe. It's a second Grand Abolisher. There's so much utility. Unfortunately, neither of these cards came up the entire tournament, as Commander tournaments usually go. You just don't see every card in every tournament, and so didn't see either of these, so I can't really report back to you on them, but I'm still interested in them. Don't know if they'll be in my list going forward though. All right, let's talk about some of the best performing cards from the tournament. Let's get it out of the way. Smothering Tithe, Rustic Study, and Mystic Remora, all very good cards. They performed great for me. They actually came up. Smothering Tithe doesn't always come up in my tournaments just because it rarely resolves, and if it does resolve, you win, and it won me a game. Necropotence won me my first round of the event. It's just a broken card. I cast it in like turn 3 or 4, and yeah, it won me the game. Awesome card, love it. City of Traders, I love this card so much. It's just another land that taps for 2 colorless. Help me cast a Ristic Study on turn 2 and a Smothering Tithe on turn 3. That game went to a draw though, funny enough. Intuition doesn't always come up. I think it's kind of a mid card, honestly, just because it's just not. It's 3 mana. It costs so much mana to win the game after the fact, and I don't know. It's fine. It wins the game, and that's usually good enough, and that's why it's in the list. It's just good enough. If they print more cards that win the game, I'm fine cutting this in the future. The reason this time it won me the game was because I cast it at instant speed when we were fighting on top of someone else's Grand Abolisher, and cast it, grabbed Born, Silence, and Orum's Chant, and they gave me Orum's Chant because when someone says I want a Born or a Silence, they give you Orum's Chant. And I was able to silence the person with the Grand Abolisher. I knew there was no more interaction. And then I was able to Final Fortune after that. And so all 3 of these cards really came up huge in my 3rd round of the event, something like that. I believe this is one of the only events where I've cast both of these, like Intuition, or I never tutor for it. I feel like I never tutor for it. Final Fortune, it just doesn't come up unless I'm already winning with like a Necro. but this one was just a raw Final Fortune win attempt. So yeah, and I love Orem's Chant. Not everyone loves Orem's Chant, but I really do. I love it as interaction, and in this case, it was also proactive, being able to silence the person at instant speed, grand abolisher, win attempt, um, and then also Final Fortune underneath that to win the game. Mindbreak Trap. There was an Atali. Mindbreak Trap them. It's just this this card, people are cutting it right now from Blue Farm because they're wanting to be more proactive, and I understand that. What I see my Break Trap card is this allows me to win second card because people are being so proactive. This card allows me to win second, um, which is a phenomenal strategy. So if I can't win first, if I don't open one of those hands, it allows me to win second. It did also come up in a game where I needed this card to be some kind of interaction to protect my turn. It didn't. It wasn't that. So I also do understand some people cutting it. For now, though, I'm keeping it in the list. Gamble. I gamble. I'll make some videos. Gamble. Gamble just got me a turn 2 fish, one of these hands. So that it came in clutch. An offer you can't refuse. I needed to. I was trying to win at instant speed, and I needed some more mana. And so I offered one of my spells further down on the stack that wasn't going to resolve, make 2 treasures, and win the game. Offer has performed very well for me in dating back to tournaments well over a year ago. So yeah, those are kind of my best cards. Alrighty, let's talk about some of the worst performing cards. But first, let's talk about 3 cards that I still have yet to cast in a tournament, or even meaningfully in other games. Tataru is still very new for me testing it, but just haven't cast it yet. I bought a real one, but just haven't cast it yet. So I don't know. It seems very good. Cracks a top deck tutor, makes mana if you can cast it early enough in the game. But yeah, haven't cast it yet. Bergie and DRC. I have been playing these cards for months and months now, since this spring. Still have not cast them in a meaningful game where they did anything. I've loved Bergie and Rogsai, so I assume I'm gonna love it in Farm. I've been playing it forever. Just hasn't come up even in like league games in the Critical League. Just these cards just haven't come up. Surprisingly, Fierce Guardianship and Deflecting Swap were some of the worst cards this tournament because Timna and Crom were some of the worst cards this tournament. I lately in my tournaments and this one have not wanted to cast Timna or Crom. This tournament I didn't cast them at all in the 5 rounds that I played, which is a small sample size. But even in my non-tournament games, I just have not wanted to cast either of them. And when I do, I'm like not happy about it. It feels like the game plan is really slow into a meta that's really turbo right now, and casting them and holding up like 1 mana still feels like I'm holding up less interaction than if I just didn't cast anything and just passed the turn. And the game plan is really slow, and I don't like mulliganing for it. So that's actually kind of the worst cards. And by extension, Fairy Mastermind and Professional Facebreaker have really not been great for me. Like I understand their appeal. Like Professional Facebreaker is broken with Smothering Tithe, but so is our entire deck list. Fairy in those really grindy games is really nice as a Timna attacker, and it helps you catch up with your opponent's Ristics. But it's just like it's fine. Like it synergizes. I can sack it to Culling the Weak. Like they're fine cards. But I would be happy to want to play something else in their spot. I just don't right now, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's talk about some of my best plays from the tournament. Let's start with Enlightened Tutor. In round 1, I had gotten a Mystic Remora and drew into a way to cast Enlightened Tutor and grab a Necropotence and go for a win with Necro. There was also 2 turbo decks at the table trying to build up their resources to try and push a win as soon as possible. And so I asked the table, hey guys, I'm looking to Enlighten Tutor, and I want to get a Necropotence. I want to win the game myself personally. But if I'm just going to run into someone's interaction and make you waste it on me so that we just end up losing to the next turbo player, just tell me and I'll just get something else. And all my opponents, after hearing that, were really awkwardly silent. So I grabbed Necropotence, and that inevitably won me the game. Asking your opponents questions like this is completely free. I was going to cast the Enlightened Tutor no matter what, to grab like a Smothering Tithe or a Heuristic Study, something like that. And so I just asked my opponents, hey, should I not go for the most threatening card right now? And they didn't tell me I shouldn't. So yeah, that was one of my best plays. Otawara. Otawara wasn't my card, actually. It was actually my opponent's. I had resolved a Voice of Victory, and they all started talking, and it became evident that the Rog Thras player had an Otawara. And so I just asked them, hey, I'm pretty sure you have an Otawara or some way to deal with my Voice of Victory. Is that right? Yeah. We knew the next player was about to try and win the game. So I said, listen, I'm not going to cast anything threatening behind my Voice of Victory. So you can just go ahead and save that so we don't just lose the game right now. We had reason to believe that the next player was going to be going for a Grand Abolisher win, or at least protected win. And so I cast Smothering Tithe and won the game later with Intuition and Final Fortune, which I talked about earlier. Demonic Consultation. In my round 2, I was going for a reverse Thassa's Oracle win, which is a win where you cast Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pact first, then you cast Thassa's Oracle, trying to sneak through the easier to counter spell, then cast your Thassa's Oracle after the fact. And there was a Mystic Remora on the table, and I wanted to posture that I was going for a Mystic Remora. I had held up 2 mana at that point, even though I had the 3rd land to cast my combo. And I held up a blue mana and cast Demonic Consultation. Now, this play isn't a play that's unique to this game, and it's actually a play that I'm trying to bring into all of my games. Because my opponent, who's actually a friend of mine, is a very good pilot, asked me, hey, what you getting with the Demonic Consultation? And the play is that I am no longer trying to just freely give out information about what I'm tutoring for at any time, so that when I am going for these types of wins right now, which I was in this context, I haven't set the precedent that I'm going for a win. What do I mean? I mean that I don't just get cagey about what I'm tutoring for when I'm winning. Because if I was in the context where I was just going for a Mystic Remora and this was just a value play, and every single time someone asks me, what are you getting with Demonic Consultation? Every time it's a value play, I just tell them, oh, I'm just getting a Mystic Remora, or I'm just going to name a value piece. Every single time I do that, that's going to not allow me in this context, which is the actual game, where I was actually just trying to win the game. And so I just told them, hey, by the way, I'm trying to be intentional about not naming, not telling people what I'm getting with my tutors at all. But like, look at my board state. What do you think I'm getting? I mean, Mystic Remora sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And they let it resolve. And then I cast Thassa's Oracle. And then they had a Pact of Negation, and we drew. So the play didn't end up working out. But this is a play that I'm trying to bring into all of my games, where I don't just tell people what I'm tutoring for. If I'm telling somebody what I'm tutoring for, we are desperate, or I'm asking them for advice on what I should tutor for in the given situation. Now, before I tell you how I punted the tournament, I want to tell you that I am offering coaching. I am a teacher in real life, and I also love cEDH. And so I wanted to bring my teaching skills and my cEDH skills together. If you're interested in coaching, you can reach out to me on Discord at Nightlocker, and we can schedule a time to get you ready for your next tournament, and hopefully you won't punt, and you can learn from my mistakes. So yeah, let's talk about how I punted. I kept a second 7. I don't remember all the cards, but I had a turn 1 Necro available to me in second seat. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm keeping that. Now, I knew the danger of this hand right away, because the danger with Necropotence is that you cast it on turn 1, and then on turn 2, when you untap, you only have 2 mana. Now, if you are a super Necro nerd like I am, you will have done the math with a hyper geometric distribution calculator on knowing the odds of getting a flash effect or an extra turn effect on your second turn. Now, the odds, if you don't hit it in your first necro pile, which in this context I paid a little bit extra life because I wanted to get to 3 mana, because 3 mana is kind of the threshold. If you can't cast Flatly Floodcaller, Born Upon a Wind, and or Final Fortune, you have a less, you only have like about a coin flip of just getting one of those 3 cards in your necro pile. And so I wanted to get to 3 mana very badly. That's the problem with casting this on turn 1, is that getting to 3 mana to be able to cast those 3 spells is quite difficult. So I paid 12 life trying to find 1 extra piece of ramp to get me to a place where I could try and cast all 3 of those spells. If you have the opportunity to cast all 3 of those spells and you can pay around 20 to like mid-20s amount of life, you have a 75% chance of getting one of those cards into your hand. Now, that is not a 75% chance of winning the game, because it's virtually impossible to calculate winning the game after that spot, but it is about a 75% chance of getting one of those cards into your hand. Now, if you only have 2 mana and you're only capable of casting Born or Final Fortune, your odds are around 55% to either gain extra mana and be able to cast Valley Floodcaller, or just find Born Final Fortune. My big mistake was that I did not just take that 55% chance at winning the game. The problem was, in my first payment of Necro, I got Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle, Brain Freeze, Arcane Signet. Those were kind of the best cards. And then some interaction that couldn't protect my win, which is important. Just interaction that could deal with my opponents, like Mindbreak Trap and Force of Negation. And so I look at this pile and I'm like, this stinks. I did not get ramp. I only got some mana and City Brass and combo pieces. And so I decided to try and just pay a little bit more life to try and find counter spells to try and protect a Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle win on my 3rd turn, and the window had sufficiently closed, unfortunately, by my 3rd turn. And I should have read the table and should have guessed that the window was going to close, and or pitched both of these cards to my Necro and just paid it all on turn 3. But the odds weren't great at that point. And so that's my punt. I should have just paid it all on turn 2, taken my 55% chance of winning the game, and just gone from there. I was already in a really good position because in the finals, if you made the finals, you got a dual land. And so, I don't know. I think I should have just paid it all. The window slammed shut on me. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I did not win that tournament. And so, yeah, my Blue Farm tournament win streak has come to an end after 2 straight tournaments of a gold event or higher, coming to a loss. So yeah, that was my best and worst plays. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to me if you want to watch more of my content. My next tournament is this weekend in Wisconsin, the 25th, whenever this video comes out. I am most likely going to be playing Blue Farm because I am still grinding for the 2026 Top Deck Invitational. Right now, I think I'm like 10th on the leaderboard in points, which is far too early to be happy with that. But it's a little motivation that I can believe in myself that I can do this. And so yeah, I've got some updates to the list that I'm thinking about making. Let me know if you want to watch me talk about that, listen to me talk about that. I've got 1 card that I think Blue Farm pilots aren't playing right now, or at least many of them, that I think is really good at the second. And so I think I'm going to be playing it this week. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. God bless.